Hello and welcome to Unbound Soul Tarot. I am so glad that you have found your way to me and that you have chosen to click on this reading and spend some time with me. Now, just to give you a bit of an overview, right? Today's reading is clearly a relationship reading, as you might have already seen from the thumbnail or the title of this video, but it was actually a request. So I haven't done a love reading in a while, and that's why it kind of came at the perfect time. So today's reading is all about the relationship that is most important to you at this time, the one that you are thinking about as you are coming to this reading. And we are going to have a bit of a look into what is actually going on in your relationship right now. What is it that you need to know about it? What is going on with your own energy? What is going on with your partner's energy? And where can you potentially come together, especially if there is some sort of a rift occurring at this time, which most likely there may be, if not necessarily a rift, a bit of a confusing atmosphere, let's just say it like that. That is the sort of premise or the foundation of today's reading. And hopefully from these messages that are going to be coming through, you will find some sort of peace of mind, some reassurance, or just some clarity and understanding. That is the point of today's reading. And without further ado, let's actually take a look at the piles that you get to choose from today. Pile number 1 is represented by this card and the Victorian Romantic Tarot. Pile number 2 is represented by this card and the Peculiar Pathways Tarot. And pile number 3 is represented by this card, as well as the Ethereal Visions Illuminated Tarot. So now that we have taken a look at all of the piles in today's reading, if you already know which pile is calling out to you, then you can go down into the description box, click on the timestamp that you need, and jump straight to your reading. But if you're unsure about how this whole choosing the right pile process goes, then what I would first recommend is making sure that you are in a quiet space where you are not distracted or disturbed by anything. It's also a good idea to close your eyes for a few seconds, take some deep breaths, make sure that you are calming yourself down, that you are not tense or anxious, that you are feeling relaxed and good, and that you are connected to your physical body. So when you feel that you are mindful and that you are truly present in this moment, when you open your eyes again and you look at the piles, you look at the cards, see what your eye is drawn to. See where your eye keeps landing. Maybe there is a specific symbol or a color or a number or whatever may be drawing your attention, right? Maybe there is a nudge that you feel intuitively. Maybe you hear something in your mind's eye that is alerting you to which pile is yours. Trust your intuitive voice, however it speaks to you, and follow it. But as I also always say, please don't forget to use your discernment as you are listening to these general messages. And without further ado, let's jump into it. Hello and welcome to your reading, pile number 1. My name is Helen and I am so glad to welcome you to today's reading. I'm really excited about this. As I said in the intro, I haven't done a relationship reading in quite a while. So it's most likely, actually, let me put those over here. It's most likely going to be quite a journey for me, definitely, but I hope that also for you and a journey in a good way. But anyway, pile number 1, you chose the Scorpion card that says Vigilance on it, and you also chose the Victorian Romantic Tarot, which, as you can see, I have put on the side here for the time being, because we are going to start off with the card that you chose first. And now we do also have some pre-prepared oracle cards, which we are also going to take a look at in just a bit. But this part, the card that you chose is going to be like the first sort of preliminary or the basic sort of overview of this pile, and most likely you will already get a slight sense of whether this is truly your pile or not. But don't you worry, if this part is still somewhat, you know, like so-so for you, then the pre-prepared oracle cards are going to give us some more details, and after that you will know for sure whether this is your pile or not. But yeah, pile 1, let's get into it. Also, I want to say thank you for any support, and if you do find yourself enjoying this reading at any point throughout these messages, then feel free to leave me a thumbs up, a comment, or subscribe to my channel. It's the easiest way to support my channel and keep these readings coming. But pile number 1, the card says vigilance on it. And just looking at the scorpion image itself, I'm kind of getting a sense that you may be feeling somewhat on edge right now. Now, I do want to say, because we are dealing with a relationship, right? It can talk about you, but it can also talk about your partner. So please put the details in place as they resonate for you. But this is clearly giving me a slight worried or anxious energy. I don't want to go as far as to say paranoid, but there's clearly this energy of feeling like you cannot fully be at ease, like you cannot fully trust the other person, or like there is some sort of suspicion in the air. And so clearly with this keyword vigilance as well, someone is very carefully paying attention to what is being said, what is being done, how someone is behaving in this relationship. What are the signs, like trying to gauge whether there are any hidden signs or clues that are present in the connection. Now, I also feel like adding at this point that this level of vigilance, it may actually stem from previous relationship experiences. So it may not necessarily have anything to do with the current relationship that you are in, but the level of feeling like you need to be on your toes, like you need to constantly pay attention to any signs, any like red flags should they arise. I feel like that level of, again, worry or anxiety is part of this emotional baggage from past relationship experiences where there has been either cheating or there has been, if not necessarily cheating, but then maybe just lying, or even if it has been like these little white lies, you know, but that there has been this notion of not being fully honest, or sort of manipulating the facts, manipulating the truth somehow or some way. And yeah, so there's just this desire for transparency, but also feeling like you kind of have to watch your back, or you have to be really careful. So this may also hint at a relationship that is just beginning. So it may be at the very early stages of the relationship, and that's why it may be more difficult to trust the other person. Again, this may go for you, or this may go for the person that you are in a relationship with. But yeah, that's the sort of energy that is coming through here. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like this energy is not, how should I say? It's not coming from a place of offense. It's coming from a place of defense, right? So the main ground here that this energy is rooted in is this desire to protect oneself. It's not necessarily to like control or rule the situation or anything like that. It purely seems to stem from fear because of past disappointments and past letdowns and past betrayals and that sort of thing. So yeah, I felt that it was important to add that here. But as I said, this is just the first part, right? So don't you worry if this is still somewhat like, I'm not sure whether this is truly my pile or not. If this is still a bit vague, then stay tuned for these pre-prepared oracle card messages too, because these are going to describe in more detail, hopefully, the current state of this relationship that you are thinking about as you are watching this reading, the one that you are watching this reading for. And also, I want to clarify that it's not describing the state of the relationship in an objective way. This is purely subjective. So this is looking at the relationship the way that you see the relationship. And so it should be very easy for you to recognize whether that's what you are truly feeling or not. Okay, we have visit. Okay, interesting. We have betrayal. We have sun. We have jealousy. And we have lover. Okay. Okay, so pile number one, there is lots of confirmation in these cards, which I have to say seems to be a regular occurrence in my readings as of late. But yeah, let's just jump straight into it. So the first card out says visit, and on the one hand I feel like it is a major confirmation that for the majority of you, I feel at least, it seems like this is a very new relationship indeed. With this visit card, it almost feels like there is the energy of still sort of dating, still you know, playing around with this connection, still sort of getting a feel for the other person, still like, you know, going out together or maybe visiting each other's homes and things like that. So as I said, a clear confirmation that for a lot of you, this is the very beginning stage, right? But I also feel that, I'm going to jump ahead here to this lover card, that for someone here at least, there seems to be this energy about the other person that either they are very popular, or they have a wide group of friends. Maybe they have a very large network group, or just, you know, group of acquaintances, or just people that they sort of have to deal with, or that they have to talk to on the regular quite often. Maybe it's something about their work that requires them to constantly travel, or to constantly just be on the road and like get together with other people and sort of teamwork and brainstorm and have lots of like client meetings or things like that. Either it's part of their personality that they just enjoy talking to loads of people and hanging out with people and having this very vibrant social life. But for others of you, it could be that the person that you are in a connection with has to do that for the sake of their work, right? So it's like, it could go either way, but I feel like the effect is essentially the same. It's that they are so very at the center of attention, or that they are, I'm going to jump ahead to the Sun card here, that they have this like bright essence to them, or they have this this aura about them that is just kind of difficult to deny and difficult to ignore. And yeah, it could be something that you sort of notice about this connection straight away, that this other person's presence or their personality or their ego is like very prominent, and that they seem to be the one who kind of like stands out a bit more, or who is more center stage in this connection for whatever reason. Or again, it could be that because this lover's card is also, this lover card is also indicating that there is clearly deep passion. There is clearly quite a lot of affection or desire already for this person. You seem to feel quite strongly about them, or you seem to feel a rather strong attachment to them. There's also a notion that you may be the one to like kind of put this person up on a pedestal, so to say, or you may like regard them very highly, or yeah, kind of place them in some sort of a central role in your life, at least for the time being, which again very much would coincide with this whole notion of this being a fresh or new relationship, because that's what tends to happen most often, right? When we fall in love, when it's still fresh, when we're still at this like honeymoon phase, so to say, this new exciting romantic connection kind of takes up everything, or it takes over in a way and eclipses a lot of the other aspects and life areas that we have. And so you may already be kind of seeing where this is going, and maybe the roles are reversed for some of you, but I do feel that for the most part, it seems that if you are watching this reading right now, the Scorpion energy seems to correlate more with your own energy. And so you may be the one who is sort of feeling this sense of like jealousy, right? That we have over here, or just feeling like you are kind of on edge and feeling somewhat threatened maybe, or feeling like you cannot fully relax and you cannot fully ease about this person and this relationship. There is something that is keeping you on your toes, right? So most likely having this emotional baggage from past betrayals is something that relates to you, but again, as I said, it may also relate to this other person. But I'm going to sort of focus more on the first scenario of these cards talking about you. Now, jumping very quickly back to the Sun card, I also feel that this may describe how this relationship is kind of the light of your life right now, or it may offer a lot of warmth and excitement and like this joyous energy to you, which is one of the reasons potentially why you are feeling on edge, or why you are feeling somewhat like anxious of losing this person or losing this connection, or where this level of vigilance may be stemming from, because there's clearly this fear of something going awry, or maybe even that things are too good to be true. That may also be the case for some of you here. Now, I do want to talk about this betrayal card, because it's clear that it is a very strong theme here. And I feel like it's something that seems to stem from the past. It's this energy of feeling like at any moment the rug could be pulled out from under you. And I feel like it's especially exacerbated because of the sort of the charismatic or very alluring, very attractive energy of the other person that you are in a relationship with. I feel like it's almost this perfect storm in a way that is a result of your past personal experiences, but also the sort of the personality and the way that this person is themselves. And so it seems to kind of add to that. Now, we do have, with both of these two cards together, the notion of this sense of betrayal, or this feeling of potentially being in danger of betrayal coming back to like visit you, or sort of rearing its ugly head from the past, right? And again, I don't feel like that's actually the case, but it just seems to be triggered in you right now, is what I'm getting. And so the last card here that we have is this jealousy card, right? And if you think about jealousy, it has such a bad rap, right? It has a negative sort of connotation to the word, but in essence, it's literally stemming from a place of fear of losing what you have, right? Of caring about something so much that you are threatened anytime someone else is interested in your person. And I find it quite interesting that the jealousy card is actually coming out with the Scorpion card, because if you think about the zodiac sign of Scorpio, they are like, in its shadow form, Scorpio is infamous for jealousy, for being somewhat more possessive or obsessive, especially when it comes to relationships. So, and by the way, I'm not saying that that's how you are, but I just kind of instantly saw that connection there, that yeah, there may be this level of feeling somewhat threatened, or feeling like the connection is threatened, and hence experiencing this level of fear or again, anxiousness, right? So yeah, pile number 1, that is really the main energy that is coming through from these cards. So again, in essence, I feel like the way that you see this relationship, right? It seems to be this mix of deep emotion and affection for this other person, but also this this fear kind of like meddling with that beautiful energy a bit, right? So it may be something that is quite difficult for you to manage or like teeter between, or at least that's what is coming through from these cards. So if you could recognize this story as something that you are indeed experiencing, then definitely stay tuned, because now we are going to dig into what is actually going on in your relationship. And we are first going to start off with your own energy. So we are going to take a look at your current energy and how it is affecting the relationship right now. Okay, wow, that was so quick. And it's so strange as well, because all of these cards flew out in reverse, even though like they weren't in reverse at first, at least. But yeah, anyway, we got the Queen of Swords in reverse, the Eight of Wands in reverse, and Strength in reverse, with the Page of Swords in reverse as the underlying energy. So pile number 1, I do want to emphasize that even though all of these cards flew out in reverse, it's not anything bad necessarily, right? The reversed cards do not mean that your energy is bad or that the way that you are showing up in this relationship is bad. They are not negative for coming out in reverse. They are just indicating that there may be a block or an obstacle in the way that the energy is flowing right now. And I feel like the cards are pretty much just like repeating or coinciding with the energy that was already coming through previously, where it feels like the aspect of fear is the thing that is like most strongly, sorry, I keep wanting to like turn the cards over and show them to you because I'm so used to the other way that I used to read cards. But anyway, the Strength coming out in reverse is very strongly hinting at the aspect of fears and the more primal instincts coming out to rule the situation right now, or those sort of instincts coming out and affecting the relationship. Strength in reverse, as I said, is not a bad card. It's just saying that there may be lack of self-belief at this time, or that there isn't that much assurance that exists. And that may be the thing that is causing you to sort of be more suspicious or feel like you have to be on your toes. Now, we also have this Queen of Swords coming out in reverse, and this one is very clearly a message of not necessarily seeing things clearly, or having the way that you see things clouded by something. And I feel like that cloudiness, that haziness is coming from this feeling of not being secure, or feeling like you cannot fully trust what is happening, and you cannot fully trust the other person. Like there is this lower instinct that is coming out from a place of thinking that you have to protect yourself, thinking that you are in danger in some way, right? And so with the Eight of Wands being at the center here, it's simply talking about the relationship may be progressing somewhat more slowly, or that there is a bit of a block or a bit of a hindrance for the relationship to progress and move forward, because that sense of, again, feeling like you cannot fully relax, like you cannot feel at ease, that seems to be the thing that is affecting the relationship right now. And I feel that it's interesting that we're getting the Queen of Swords in reverse specifically, because the Queen of Swords is infamous for being like the scorned woman, where because of the things that she has endured in her past, and by the way, I'm using like she or her, but it doesn't mean that you have to be female specifically, so it's not gender specific. But yeah, this Queen of Swords is known for being a scorned woman, or sort of having gone through her trials and betrayals in the past. And again, I don't feel that it's actually something that you're experiencing now, but it just seems like there's this feeling like that may be the case. And it's also potentially why you feel like you have to be vigilant about everything that is going on, right? Because the Queen of Swords is very much in her head. She operates from her mental space rather than from her heart space, or what she is feeling or what she is sensing. She's trying to make sense of everything. She's trying to like take a look at the information that is available to her, and she's trying to analyze things, to make sense of things, to make a plan, to have a strategy, to have a contingency plan, right, if things should go wrong. But it's all coming from a fully mental or sort of rational place. And I also feel that it's interesting that the Eight of Wands, which very often talks about communication too, is coming out in reverse, especially with the Page of Swords being in reverse as well as the underlying energy, because the energy of communication potentially not being very forthcoming seems to be a factor here too. So I have a feeling that even though you are experiencing all of these things, all of these doubts and all of these worries, and you seem to be like battling with those within and feeling like, feeling quite anxious, I want to say, I don't think that you are actually letting the other person know, or you may be trying to conceal it as best as you can. And so, especially with the Page of Swords in reverse, I feel like it's not that you are necessarily talking about these worries, or that you are even seeing anything like that necessarily occurring, but it feels like you are making certain deductions or certain conclusions on your own. But when the Page of Swords comes out in reverse, it is a bit of a suggestion, let's just say, to be mindful of what sort of conclusions you are drawing, because they may not necessarily be the right ones. So try and pay attention to when this aspect of fear may be like creating this cloud of illusion over everything that is happening. But let's also take a look at what you need to know about your partner's current energy that is affecting the relationship. Okay, so we have the Six of Cups, and we have the Moon coming out in reverse, and the underlying energy is the Seven of Wands. I had to sit with these cards for a while, because the Moon is always a bit of a tricky energy to like get a sense of, but I'm gonna just scoop both of these cards up together. So we have the Six of Cups, and we have the Moon coming out in reverse as the energy that your partner is currently in that is affecting this relationship. And honestly, especially with the Six of Cups, this is such a sweet and innocent and genuine energy that I feel like you really don't have anything to worry about. They seem to be operating in a very honest and sincere energy, especially with the Moon coming out in reverse. it feels like they don't actually have anything to hide. There is no deeper mystery. There is no sort of hidden agenda or anything like that behind their generosity and sweetness and kindness. The Six of Cups it may indicate that yes, indeed, they have that sort of energy about them, or this personality where they may come across as like very sweet and caring and open to a lot of people, right? Which may be the thing that attracts people to them more easily too. But again, with the moon in reverse, it doesn't seem to come from any sort of hidden motivation or hidden agenda or anything like that. And I also feel that there isn't any sort of like intentional flirtatious energy or anything like that coming from their side, especially with the Seven of Wands being the underlying energy here. It almost seems like they are very clearly energetically cut off from any advances, or that they may actually, even though they are friendly and open and sort of welcoming or warm with other people or just people in general in their encounters, I feel like their boundaries are actually quite clearly in place, or that they are not necessarily like emotionally or fully available to other people, if that makes sense. The Seven of Wands is clearly an indication of sort of protecting one's space and fending off any like intruders, so to say. So I do feel that you actually don't have anything to worry about. But I do feel that because we're looking at both of your energies and how it is affecting the relationship as it is right now, I feel like the reason why this state of anxiety in you could be triggered is because of the Six of Cups, because it is so kind of sweet and generous and again warm and alluring, right? Because the Six of Cups is the sort of energy that you feel when you are with someone, as if you have known them for ages, as if you have some sort of history or a deeper bond that connects you to this other person, right? And that is the sort of energy that they may give off. And with the moon in reverse, it may even be something that they give off unintentionally. They may evoke that sort of feeling in other people without necessarily wanting to bring that about. But I also do want to add that I feel that because they are so kind of open and genuine and like sincere and innocent in that sort of space where they just enjoy connecting with people and they find it interesting and they find it like enriching, they also may not do very well when they feel cornered or when they feel like they are under attack of some kind, or like they are being blamed or targeted for something, especially if, you know, there is no merit for that. So yeah, I do feel that they may be quite sensitive in that sense, especially because we are dealing with two water sign cards coming out. And so I just feel like sort of giving a bit of a heads up that they may kind of not like shut down, but they may kind of pull inwards a bit or pull more into themselves when they feel like they are being questioned or like they are being scrutinized without there being any reason for it, right? So I feel like that's just something to bear in mind. And again, I just want to add that I feel that the solution here is just like honest communication, because I feel like that the person that you are dealing with very much values honesty and again, sort of that heart-to-heart connection, just being vulnerable, being honest, and sort of coming from a genuine place. But let's also take a look at where is it that you can find common ground at the moment? What is it that brings you together or unites you? Okay, so we have Death and the Three of Wands, with the King of Cups being the underlying energy. So pile number one, these cards are really funny, and also I feel that it's crazy how we are getting quite a few cards of Scorpio again, actually, because the Death card is a card of Scorpio. The King of Cups is a card of Scorpio. And actually even the Six of Cups is a card of Scorpio. So maybe you or your person has significant Scorpio in your charts, but also because of strength in the sun, either of you could also have significant Leo placements in your chart too. So I'm just kind of throwing out the zodiac signs here. But anyway, so the Death and the Three of Wands is kind of confirming the message of communication, or how that may be a very significant part of coming together for you. Now, the Death is signifying that there is clearly a lot of transformative energies, a lot of changes that both of you have experienced, because again, we are looking at the energy that unites you, right? Where you can kind of come together, where you have that common energy. And clearly with the Death card, again, it seems that you haven't necessarily had the easiest lives, like either of you, or at the very least that there have been lots of changes, lots of endings, lots of transformations that you have had to go through and endure, and that you have had to come through. And clearly it has taken you to very different places in your lives, but also it's something that both of you can resonate with. And with the Three of Wands being here, both of you seem to want to move towards something better, right? You both seem to be interested in progression, in growth, in expansion, and sort of growing out of your comfort zone, pushing yourself further and coming through those difficulties, trying to become better versions of you, trying to achieve more or reach some sort of higher levels. I like both personally, I feel, but also within this connection, especially with the Three of Wands, it seems like you both have certain visions or goals for the future that you are aspiring towards, and you are excited to kind of leave the past behind. So again, I feel that with the underlying energy being the King of Cups here, there is very clearly common ground that can be found in sharing your feelings, sharing what is truly going on within, because the King of Cups is a beautiful energy in the sense that there is maturity and there is compassion and there is understanding, but there is also this realization that there is strength in vulnerability, and you don't have to let your emotions control you. You can actually stay rooted and decide yourself how you want to respond in any given situation. There is no need to purely react from a feeling or from an impulse that arises. That's the King of Cups wisdom. And I just love how there is this whole scene of like a group of people coming together and everyone kind of joining in, right? Everyone sharing this wine clearly that they are drinking, but obviously it's just a symbolic representation. But I do feel that this whole energy of sharing, and again, being willing to kind of open up. And I even love that there is this depiction of, I feel like it's a trombone that is being depicted here, at the very least, like a version of it. But yeah, it again seems to indicate that it's okay, that sort of energy of like sharing and opening up, especially about like fears or insecurities or the difficulties that you have endured and that has led you to this place. Sharing that can ultimately, I feel, bring you a lot closer together, because that's where understanding can be found. That's where compassion can be found. Because if we know why someone is doing something, why someone is behaving in a way, why someone is feeling a certain way, or why they are thinking the way that they are thinking, or what they are even thinking, we can have an easier time understanding where that person is coming from and empathizing with them and sort of seeing that behavior in a whole different light. So yeah, that's the energy that sort of unites you, or that has the potential to bring you together right now. But pile number one, those were the tarot card messages, and we are swiftly moving along to the last part of the reading. Thank you so much if you're still here, by the way. But we are going to get a couple of beautiful positive affirmations from Spirit regarding this whole reading and your relationship. Hopefully it will give you a bit of sort of encouragement as well. I'm sorry. I'm just that bottom card is just priceless. We have honesty. Okay, I'm going to start off with that one, and then we are going to take a look at the cards that you actually got. But okay, I'm going to read the card to you. So, honesty, and this is one of the bonus cards. This heralds a wonderful time of rooting yourself in complete and total honesty. It might seem scary to tell the truth all the time with everyone about everything, but when you practice radical honesty, you can stop hiding and start relaxing. Yes. The best part is honesty from you inspires honesty from others. What results is a rootin' tootin' trust parade, and everyone's invited. Except the bagpipe players, but you know they'll show up anyway. Okay, so yeah, this deck is always a bit of a cheeky one in its messages and in its language, but yeah, I love that honesty. It's just funny. Okay, so we also have maturity. That's the card that actually came out for you. So this card says, I'm gonna try and make sure that you are able to read it as well for yourself if you want. I make peace with the tough relationships of my past. Oh my goodness, okay. Oh, okay, talk about confirmation. Sorry, going back. I make peace with the tough relationships of my past. I probably would have skipped the pain they came with, but I'm grateful for the lessons they brought me. Because of those tough relationships, I can look back at the mosaic of my life, internet stalk my exes, and see value in even the most broken pieces. I really dodged a bullet. Yeah, so see, again, I feel like it's Spirit is kind of encouraging you that it's understandable that the level of vigilance or anxiety would be sort of present having gone through tough relationships, but also like seeing how they have taught you, seeing how they have prepared you for better and more healthy relationships is the sort of value that they bring. So let's see what else. Oh, I love that we're getting this card as well. Okay, this card says, I'm a catch. I'm a total catch, and I know all the reasons why. I know that anyone would be lucky to be with me, and that doesn't mean I'm arrogant or snobby. Self-respect is just one of many qualities exhibited by this complete and utter babe. I love the language in these cards. I don't know, to me they're really funny. But yeah, this one is just a clear reminder that you deserve this relationship. You deserve this goodness that is coming your way, and you are a catch, right? You are worthy of it. Like there is no need to like question it, or yeah, you're a catch. What else is there to say? Okay, so the last oracle card that we are going to get is from this Romance Angels oracle deck, and let's see what is the last message that Spirit has for you. Ooh. Okay, beautiful. I'm going to start off with the underlying energy again, which says worth waiting for. Divine timing is at work in your love life. See, I feel like it's no coincidence that, and as I said that, by the way, there was 1111 on the camera there. But anyway, it is no coincidence that you are actually that you have met this person now, that you have come into this relationship now, and that there is clearly this, I almost want to say like a contrast in your energies, or that there seems to be yeah, a bit of an opposites attract sort of energy coming out here. Yeah, I feel like it's part of the healing of the past. But the card that you actually got is Flirt. Extend your light-hearted energy to others. So I feel like Spirit is again encouraging you to have more fun, to have more of a light-hearted energy, to enjoy this time of like dating and flirting and getting to know each other and all of that. I mean, again, I'm just feeling this energy the most strongly, but you know, if this part doesn't resonate, then just take the parts that do and leave the rest. But pile number 1, I'm gonna leave it here. Oh my goodness, this was such a ride. I feel like this reading was 100 million years long, and I do apologize for you know, dragging it out. But that's how the reading came out today, and hopefully the messages that needed to come through and find you did, and hopefully they gave you something useful or meaningful. But pile number 1, if you are still here, by the way, then leave me a little sun emoji down in the comment section so that I would know that you watched this thing all the way through, that you found meaning from these messages, that this reading spoke to you. I would love to see you in the comment section and connect with you there. And I would also love to see you back on this channel next Friday for some more messages, insight, and fun. But in the meantime, please take care of yourself and be good. Bye-bye. Hello and welcome to your reading, pile number 2. My name is Helen, and I want to say thank you so much for choosing to hang out with me today. I hope that you are excited, because I know I am really excited, because like I said in the intro, I haven't done a relationship reading in a while, and I actually find them really interesting. And so, yeah, I maybe should do more of these is kind of my conclusion that I have arrived at. But anyway, pile number 2. I also want to say thank you if you have shown me or my channel support in any way. I really appreciate it. And if at any time throughout today's reading you find yourself enjoying the messages, or you like my style of reading cards, you like my energy, you want to see more from me, then the easiest way to encourage me to keep going with these readings is to either leave a little thumbs up, a comment in the comment section, or subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate any of those things. But pile number 2, you chose the dynamic Yin and Yang card, as well as the Peculiar Pathways Tarot. And we are going to get to that tarot deck in a short while. And we also have some pre-prepared oracle cards, which we are also going to take a look at very soon, because I want to feel my way through the card intuitively that you chose first. And based on some of these messages and keywords coming through, you should already have some sort of inkling whether this is truly your pile or not. But don't worry if this part is like somewhat vague still, because through these oracle cards, you should be able to recognize yourself much more easily. But pile number 2, we have this dynamic card, right? And I do feel that in this pile, most likely we are dealing with a fairly stable relationship, or at the very least, it's a relationship that has been ongoing for a while. This connection seems to be quite deeply rooted in some sort of routines and habits. And especially with the keyword of dynamic, I just feel like everyone kind of knows what their role is and what their place is in the relationship. There seems to be this clear understanding of how the relationship works, what you bring to the table, what this other person brings to the table. So in a sense, it seems like it's this beautiful flow, like everything is kind of going along its way. There doesn't seem to be too much like turbulence or conflict or anything like that in the air. But I do feel that behind this stability and this veneer of steadiness is a slight growing restlessness of like boredom, or feeling like maybe it's time to shake something up. Maybe it's time to bring in something new and exciting for a change, because it feels a bit like dull, a bit like everyday same thing over and over and over again. Even the look of this card, right? I mean, I love these cards. They are all beautiful to me, but it's all gray, and it's all like, I mean, if you don't look at the little golden accents, but like the illustration of this card is all gray, and it almost feels somewhat lifeless. Again, I feel that nothing is actually wrong, nothing is actually bad, and I feel like if you kind of think about it, there isn't anything to complain about necessarily in this relationship, but it just may be lacking that something extra, that's something that brings excitement to the relationship, that's something that keeps things interesting and that keeps you guessing, that takes you by surprise, right? Because we kind of need that at times. And I feel like you may be in this position right now where you are realizing that you really need that. You are really missing that sense of butterflies in your stomach and feeling like everything is new, and that you are getting to experience things kind of like for the first time with this person, and it's all very like, yeah, it's like full of possibility and full of unknown, and it's exciting and it's thrilling, and I feel like because the relationship has matured to this space where you now have this steady rhythm going, you've kind of lost that excitement, right? And so yeah, it's that sort of energy that is coming through from the intuitive card, at least. But anyway, if you don't fully resonate with this part, don't you worry, because we also have these oracle cards to look at. And just to give you a clear overview, these cards are depicting the state of your relationship currently, but through your eyes. So this is very subjectively talking about how you see the relationship being right now, and it's not necessarily a reflection of the relationship as it really is, or as it kind of objectively is. So it should be very easy for you to recognize yourself from these cards. So let's see. Okay, interesting. We have death. We have limitation. We have Vesta. Fear. And we have marriage. Okay. Pile number 2. A lot of these cards are confirming the energy that seemed to be coming through from the intuitive part. And just as a reminder, right, we are looking at the relationship through your eyes, the way that you perceive it right now. And I do have to say, I'm going to start off with the center card here, which is Vesta, because this one is, it has the energy of the keeper about it. And it's kind of talking about needing a fresh sort of inspiration to come in, something to focus on, something to direct your energy towards, right? Something that would spark that fire and kind of ignite something fresh. Because like with the energy of the keeper, right? It kind of feels like it is talking about an energy that is being maintained. There is a notion of keeping something going the way that it is. And I feel that at the center of your connection right now is, on the one hand, this stability, this steadiness, this solid foundation that you have going on. But also, I feel like, as I said, we have some of these other cards that are depicting this sense of questioning in you, whether that is all that there is, whether the exciting and new parts of experiencing things and experiencing people, and whether all of that part of life is kind of over for you. Now, I'm gonna jump ahead to these two cards because we do have the marriage card coming out, we also have this fear that is right next to it, right? So the marriage card is essentially, again, a confirmation that we are dealing with a very solid relationship that is deeply committed. It doesn't have to mean specifically that you are married. It doesn't have to be that sort of official. It can also be that you are living together. Maybe you have a family together. Maybe you have just been together in a relationship, in a committed partnership for years and years and years. So yeah, it more so seems to hint at longevity. But of course, for some of you, this very literally means that you are husband and wife or whatever, you know, that you are spouses. But the fear card right next to it is kind of, yeah, it seems to hint at certain growing fears within you when it comes to the longevity of the partnership that you are in. And maybe this is not for all of you, maybe this is more of a specific message, but I do feel that for someone here, there may be this like gnawing voice, this gnawing doubt that is starting to creep up, whether you are actually able to stay in this partnership, whether you are actually able to be in this connection, like till death do you part, right? Like it may be sort of like spiraling kind of in that sense. But again, as I said, it feels like it's more of a personal or more of a specific message. So I'm not sure that it's going to resonate for a lot of you, but yeah, that notion of starting to feel somewhat confined, right? Because we also have this card of limitation here. You're maybe starting to feel somewhat confined in this partnership right now. And that may be something that is scaring you. So like feeling that permanence of the committed relationship that you are in, or the promises that you have made to this person, or the promises that you have made to each other, and yeah, sort of maybe doubting whether this whole thing is for you. But again, I feel like it's just like, if this message is for you, right, if that's something that you have been thinking about, then I feel like it's simply that anxiousness talking, where things have just become a bit too stale and a bit too dull, but they can be livened up again. So again, if this is you, it's nothing to feel shameful about. It's nothing to feel bad about. But I do feel that like it can be a byproduct of feeling this level of questioning, or feeling this level of not knowing whether you can actually be in this connection. I feel that there is a sense of like shame or guilt that is attached to feeling that way, almost like you are mad at yourself for feeling this way, or like you are wanting to punish yourself for feeling this way, as if you are like ungrateful for feeling boxed in by this amazing relationship, by all of the security and stability that you have. And so yeah, you may be kind of beating yourself up over some of these thoughts, and you may not even allow yourself to fully acknowledge these feelings, or to admit them to yourself. You may be wanting to like kind of push those thoughts down, but I feel like it's something that like kind of keeps popping up again, because it's clear with this death card next to this limitation card that you are wanting to change something about the way that you are potentially feeling confined or limited by this connection, or by the dynamic that exists, by the rhythm that has been established, or that has been so well established. It may feel difficult to break, and also I feel like there is a fear attached to like changing something about the relationship as it is, because like even if you ultimately want to bring something new and exciting about the connection back into the mix, so to say, there may be this underlying fear of messing up the good thing that you have, right? Like jeopardizing or compromising the beautiful aspects of the relationship that you wouldn't want to lose or mess up in any way. So yeah, that is what seems to be your kind of perspective regarding the relationship that you are in right now. And if this was your message, if you resonated with this, then definitely stay tuned for the upcoming messages, because we're now going to get into the tarot cards to get a better understanding of what is actually going on in your relationship. And we are first going to start off with taking a look at your personal energy right now and seeing how that energy that you are currently sort of emitting, how that may be affecting the relationship. Okay, so we have the Three of Coins, the Knight of Swords, and Judgment as the underlying energy. Pile number 2, these cards are actually fairly straightforward, so I feel like this part is going to go by quite quickly. But I'm going to start off with the underlying energy here. We have this beautiful Judgment card. And what this is saying is that currently you are clearly undergoing some sort of personal transformation where you are recognizing some sort of growing voice within that is getting louder and louder and more difficult for you to ignore. So it signals a time of personal growth and ascension where you cannot really keep going the same way that you have been going. And so there is clearly a change that is occurring, whether you want to or not. And in this instance, pile 2, I feel like you do want it. Actually, you seem to be so ready to bring about some sort of newness to your life, where you just want to progress in some way or feel like you are moving and bringing in new energy. And so again, it seems like that's like one of the main reasons why you potentially feel kind of stifled or boxed in your relationship as well, or why this stability and steadiness that you have created or that you have come to in your relationship with your partner, why that is suddenly feeling like it's not such a good thing anymore, or at the very least it's starting to feel more like boring and limiting or confining rather than a source of security, right? Because that's not really where you are at personally right now. And I do feel that, of course, I have no idea what is going to come out for your partner's side, which we're going to take a look at very shortly too. But I do feel that there may be a bit of a dichotomy or a difference when it comes to what you are sort of personally going through right now, which seems to be this like very clear soul level sort of shift, or where you are progressing and that sort of needs to happen. But I feel like that may not necessarily be the case for your partner, and they may be sort of in a different space within themselves. And that may be the thing that is like causing this level of frustration in you, or where you may feel that it's potentially difficult for you not to kind of lash out at your partner. Again, maybe this is more of a specific message, I don't know, but that's the energy that is coming through, where this like growing frustration or restlessness within is kind of coming out as not being happy with what your partner is doing is kind of what I'm getting. But again, this may be more of a specific message, so please ignore that if this isn't resonating for you. But we have this Three of Coins and this Knight of Swords that is talking about your energy as it is right now and how it is affecting the relationship. And I have to say, I feel very strongly from both of these cards that you may be focusing or directing all of this restlessness, all of this growing frustration that seems to be sort of coming online for you. You seem to be directing that towards some sort of productivity, or maybe your career ambitions. Maybe you are starting to pour more of your energy into like building something, creating something. Maybe you are dealing with a project of some kind, but it feels significant. Or with the Three of Coins especially, it feels like you are building something bigger, or like there is a more substantial weight to whatever project you are undertaking or whatever you are working on when it comes to your career or when it comes to your work ambitions. Because the Knight of Swords is such a focused energy. It is the most focused and headstrong of all of the knights. And there's a clear level of conviction here where you seem to be so clearly going at something that you are trying to bring about, something that you're trying to create. And I feel that it's interesting that like this frustration that you are feeling, you are trying to, like, based on these cards at least, it seems like you are trying to unleash it in some sort of productive way, which clearly is a method. It's something that that can be done. But I also feel that it may potentially, because it's taking you away from the connection, right? It's like it's directing this energy inside of you into something else, into something other, something that exists outside of your connection. It may be something that like kind of creates this sense of distance in the connection, and not necessarily from your side. I don't feel like it's distance coming from you feeling distance in the connection, but I do feel that it may be something that your partner may be feeling. But again, I'm kind of jumping the gun here because we're going to see in a minute what your partner is doing or feeling or experiencing in the connection and how it's affecting the relationship. But yeah, when it comes to you, it seems that you have your eye or your sights set on some sort of personal project or goal or ambition, most likely tied to your career or your work. And yeah, you ultimately seem to be driven from a place of wanting to grow or wanting to expand, because you have clearly outgrown this sort of well-established routine or dynamic that exists right now. But let's take a look at what is it that you need to know about your partner's current energy that is affecting this relationship. Oh, wow, okay. We had jumpers. So, okay. Interesting. So we have the Nine of Cups and the Hanged Man coming out for your partner, and the underlying energy is the Magician. Okay, so pile number 2. I am kind of chuckling to myself looking at these cards because, yeah, they are just coinciding so well with the energy that I was kind of feeling already before even having seen these cards, right? So we have the Nine of Cups and we have the Hanged Man. So looking at your person's energy and the way that their current energy is affecting the relationship, it's clear that your person is actually very pleased with the state of things. The Nine of Cups and the Hanged Man is in essence an energy of just wanting things to be the way that they are and feeling really good about the way that things are, not necessarily wanting to change anything, not feeling like there is a need to change anything, because the Nine of Cups is a pure representation of like feel good energy, of feeling at ease, feeling satisfied, feeling fulfilled. But I do want to emphasize that it's important to note that we are looking at the Nine of Cups here. We're not looking at the Ten of Cups, right? So the Nine of Cups is always talking about personal fulfillment. It's talking about that level of emotional satisfaction that usually represents one person. And so I just find it interesting that we are, again, getting that contrast quite clearly here, where you seem to be feeling like restless or not really happy with the status quo of the relationship, whereas your partner seems to be perfectly happy with that state of the relationship. And the Hanged Man is just an energy of being in this standstill energy, right? Being in suspension, having things kind of in limbo, if you will, right? Which means that I feel like your person is very much just enjoying things as they are, as I have already said. They don't seem to be making any moves necessarily. I almost feel like saying that they may be more of a passive person in your connection. Now, like, regardless of what your genders actually are, if we talk about like feminine and masculine energy, it definitely comes through in a way that, like, regardless of whether you are actually male or female, or like however you see yourself, right? You are coming through much more masculine and your partner is coming through much more feminine. Again, regardless of what their gender or what your gender actually is. So they seem to be in this like receptive, more passive energy where they're just sort of chilling and enjoying things, and they are happy with everything, and they are not in any sort of rush to change anything about that. In essence, I feel like it kind of makes sense that they would be a big source of frustration for you, because you don't want to exist in that liminal space, or in that like limbo space where seemingly nothing is really happening and nothing is changing, and you're just kind of going along day after day, doing the same thing day in and day out. And I also want to say, because I do definitely feel that this is more of a specific message, but the Magician being the underlying energy here, I feel that for someone here, there is some sort of potential in this person, and that most likely you see in this person as well, that hasn't manifested. And I feel like, again, with this Hanged Man state, I feel like they are perfectly happy about that. They don't seem to feel any sort of desire to do anything about this potential that exists, that clearly exists in them. But I do feel that that for someone here, if you recognize that that you sort of see some sort of potential in your partner that maybe they don't necessarily act on, or that they don't see in themselves, or that they only occasionally show you. Yeah, I feel like there is this existence of all of this potential and all of this skill and all of this talent and all of the possibility. But again, I feel like they're not necessarily doing anything with it, because I feel like they are just so good with how things are right now that they don't feel the need to change anything. That is kind of what I feel here, that is coming through here. And I just want to add as the last thing that if you are resonating with pretty much everything that has been coming through so far, and if you are waiting for your person to make a move of some kind, to like do something about this status quo, to change something about themselves or the relationship, then I just want to say that you may be the one who needs to make the first move here. Because again, your partner is coming through in such a passive energy that I feel like you're just going to be waiting forever if you wait for this person to do something, because I feel like they don't even recognize, or they don't even see that something is wrong, or that like something is bugging you. Even if they kind of sense through certain like mood changes or certain potential outbursts even that there is something, I feel like, again, they don't want to like poke the bear, so to say. At least that's what is coming through from these cards. So yeah, if you do want something to change, again, it seems like you being in this more masculine, assertive energy are the one who kind of has to make the first move in that sense. But pile number 2, let's move on and take a look at the area in which you can kind of come together. So where can you find common ground with your partner at this time? What brings you together? What unites you at this moment? Okay. So we have the 4 of Cups, the 2 of Coins, and the 8 of Coins coming out in reverse as the underlying energy. Okay, so I feel like the answer is actually quite sort of simple in this case. So we have the 4 of Cups and the 2 of Coins coming out. And the first thing that I thought to myself as these cards came out was like mundane life, mundane existence, right? Because we are essentially looking at 2 minor arcana cards. And I mean, like even for you, we had 2 minor arcana cards, but for some reason it didn't really jump out at me the way that these two cards jumped out at me, or the fact that they are minor arcana cards. And essentially what it means is that the common ground in your relationship at this time can actually be found in the small, minute, day-to-day things, right? The Four of Cups is talking about the state of this stagnation, or this dull rhythm that you have going. And the Two of Coins is essentially a bit of shaking it up. But the thing is, because that's clearly something that you are desiring, and it's clearly something that your person is not that interested in, I should say, at least right now, right? This is just talking about the current state of things. But I feel like where you can really come together is actually like shaking something up when it comes to these little day-to-day mundane things that are kind of easy to shake up, right? It's not that you are uprooting everything that you have, and it's not that you are bringing about these massive shifts or changes, but that you are kind of bringing about this slight tweaking of energies by potentially like changing up your roles, or changing up some of the like tasks or responsibilities that you have in your relationship day to day, right? With the Eight of Coins coming out in reverse, it seems to hint at like shifting the routine. So like, just to give you an example, like if you are always the one who, I don't know, fixes something around the house, or who always like gets the groceries, or who always takes out the garbage, like changing something up in the sense that maybe your partner can be the one to do that, and maybe you can do something else that your partner usually does, right? Like just shaking things up like that, and maybe expressing that you would like to just play around with the roles a bit, or just see how things would go. Because the Eight of Coins is very clearly an indication of something being done over and over again, right? It's this repetitive energy, but because it's coming out in reverse, it's about breaking that pattern. It's about coming out of this mold and shaking things up a bit, right? Because that's what the Two of Coins is about too. It's about bringing in this flexibility of just trying out the other side of the equation. But again, it's like in a minor way. It's not necessarily going from like one extreme to the next, but it's just playing around a bit and seeing what happens whilst still maintaining that secure level of stability that both of you clearly value, especially your partner. But I feel like you clearly value that too. You don't want to lose that. Otherwise, this fear card wouldn't be here. But also it's going to like bring about some of this movement, right? It's going to get those still waters in your connection moving again, and it may help to bring in or make it more easy to welcome certain newness into your connection in a bigger way too, so that it wouldn't be this like predictable all the time. Okay, and the last thing I also want to add is that potentially for someone here, the reason why your partner is in this state that they don't necessarily want to change anything, it may also result from a feeling of fear, of not wanting to mess up a good thing. So by doing these like little tiny tweaks and changes, it may also like alleviate some of the worries or the fears in your partner. Even if they are not like conscious worries, they may be subconscious fears that are kind of ruling over them and making them like sort of be in or exist in that space where they are just kind of doing the same thing all the time. It may alleviate some of these fears for them as well, and sort of show them that it's not actually anything bad or anything too drastic, right? To shake things up every now and then, that it may actually be a good thing, and it may actually like bring about a level of playfulness that like eases some of the tensions or some of the frustrations that may be like kind of felt in the atmosphere. But yeah, pile number 2, let's close the reading out with a couple of oracle card messages. We are first going to get some beautiful positive affirmations from Spirit regarding this reading and regarding your relationship. So let's see what we can find. Okay, so we have 2 cards coming out, and we're going to take a look at those in just a bit, because I want to start off with the underlying energy, which says integrity. And I love that we're actually getting that there is a sign that is depicted here, which reads, home is where the heart is, because it just, again, it feels so like rooted and cozy and secure, which kind of feels like it's the perfect thing. But anyway, so this integrity message reads, I align with the center of myself, a glowing core of personal integrity. Emanating from this core is the knowledge that I never have to compromise who I am or what I want for anybody. I can live a life that doesn't include settling. Unless I want to settle, in which case settling would be my idea of perfection and would cease to be considered settling. Ugh, paradoxes hurt. So yeah, as you can see, this is a very cheeky sort of deck. But yeah, I love that we're getting the message of not needing to settle, right? And pile number 2, you don't have to settle. You don't have to settle for the way that things are. And if you are not completely happy with things, right, then just trusting your integrity and trusting that your well-being is important to your partner. But anyway, let's take a look at what you got. Okay, ooh, the first card out is a bonus card, and it says, wait and see. Is it going to focus? Ooh, there we go, finally. Okay, so I'm going to try and tilt it a bit so that I could see the text as well. Okay, so wait and see. Thoughts love to wander into assumptions and race ahead to the future. But what if you told them to cool their jets and chill a sec? Today you get to put your mental chatter on pause, to take a breath and simply wait and see how things play out before you let your mind run a marathon of imagined scenarios. Wait, and you'll see that waiting and seeing was a lot more productive than wondering and worrying. Insert audible sigh of relief here. Yeah, so again, it seems to hint at this notion of fear, of potentially drawing certain conclusions and making certain assumptions, like regarding how your person's going to react or what is going to happen if you were to open up about some of these like feelings that you were experiencing and all of that. But yeah, I feel like Spirit is clearly saying that it's okay to just let things be for a bit. Right? To not assume that you know exactly how your partner is going to react, for example, right? Because honestly, we never know. People can surprise us. Life can surprise us. And so just being open to that. Oh, how cool is that? You get another bonus card. Okay, and this one says cleansing. I'm going to try and again show you the card, but then also try and read it at the same time. Okay, sorry. I'm having such a hard time. I can barely read the card, so I'm going to show it to you in a second. Feeling bogged down by the weight of 1,000 thoughts / feelings / boxes of mystery objects lurking in your closets? Consider this a prescription to clean house, mentally, physically, literally, figuratively, and anything else that applies adverbally. It's hard to make room for new connections and experiences when every bit of your emotional space is cluttered with psychic bric-a-brac. So enjoy a major guilt-free flush out. And not to worry, you can always find new psychic bric-a-brac in the metaphorical clutter section of Craigslist. Yeah, so I feel like Spirit is kind of saying the same thing over and over, cleansing that mental chatter, right? And again, like getting things out of your mind, out of your heart even, right? If something is weighing heavily on your heart and you feel that you need to get something off of your chest, but again, if fear is stopping you, then yeah, I feel like Spirit is kind of urging you, or at least suggesting that what may help you is like releasing some of that tense energy and tapping into that integrity, right? That energy of integrity. I'm going to hold up both of these cards because hopefully that way it's, yeah, see? Much more easy for the camera to focus. And so if you want to read both of these cards again for yourself, you can pause the screen or pause the reading and just take a look at the screen. But yeah, so those are the cards that you got. But pile number 2, just a last second here, because we're also going to get a Romance Angels Oracle card too to wrap up this whole reading and get some last messages of support from Spirit for you. Oh, wow. Okay. How crazy is that? Okay. We also have... I'm just going to show you the underlying energy because we had a marriage card already here, but the card that you also got as the underlying energy says wedding. This situation involves marriage. Again, just further confirmation that this is clearly a very deeply committed relationship, regardless of whether it is actually in the official sense or whether it is not necessarily official, but you know, anyway. Okay, so we have the first card out, which says, pay attention to the red flags. The signs are cautioning you. And we also have express your love. Go ahead and make the romantic gesture. Okay, so see, I feel like the red flags are coming through in the sense of how some of these frustrations and this restlessness that is growing in you, when it sort of just simmers or brews inside and then it isn't like given proper outlet, it starts to come out in some of these weird ways and some of these ways where we don't necessarily have control over it anymore. And that may end up being more like destructive or harmful to ourselves and the health of the relationship. And so I just feel like it's kind of Spirit asking you to acknowledge again some of those feelings, some of that restlessness that is cropping up. And with this express your love, again, like expressing your feelings is such an okay thing to do. And clearly the things that you are sort of battling with, it's best to express yourself in a way where you are like considering the other person's feelings as well, right? So it's best to be mindful of that. But also I feel like, again, like Spirit is encouraging you to kind of speak your mind, or to not be afraid to open up about how you truly feel. And again, to kind of take the initiative here, to make that first move and sort of bring about some shift in that energy of stagnation. But pile number 2, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you so much for being here, for hanging out with me. This was such an interesting reading, and I do hope that you also felt that way, or that it spoke to you in a way that was useful or helpful or meaningful. Actually, you know what? I want to place these cards over here because I love these cards so much. I don't want to cover them up, but yeah. Anyway, sorry, fidgeting around with the cards at the last minute, but you know, what else is new? Anyway, so pile number 2, if you're still here, by the way, let me know by leaving me a little crab. Yeah, why not? I was drawn to the little crab on this 2 of coins. So please leave me a little crab emoji down in the comment section, and that way I would know that you made it all the way to this point and that this reading spoke to you in some way. Okay, I don't know why, but that phrase from Phoebe in Friends, where she says, he's her lobster. You know, when she's talking about Ross and Rachel, I don't know why, but that just jumped into my head. Like, he's her lobster. Anyway, I don't know. That just came to my head. So yeah, but don't mind me, pile number 2. yeah, leave me a little crab emoji down in the comment section, and that way I would know that this reading spoke to you. And I would love to see you in the comment section and connect with you there. But I would also love to see you back on this channel next Friday for some more messages, insight, and fun. And in the meantime, please be good and take care of yourself, and bye-bye. Hello and welcome to your reading, pile number 3. My name is Helen, and I want to say that I am so excited for today's reading. I'm really glad that you have found your way to me and that you have chosen to tune in and spend your time with me. But yeah, it's going to be really exciting to see what comes through in these messages. And I also do want to say, before we get started with your cards, that I truly appreciate any support that you have shown me or my channel. And if at any point during today's reading you find that you are liking the messages or that you are enjoying my energy and my style of reading cards, then please consider leaving a thumbs up or a comment in the comment section, or subscribing to the channel. All of those ways are, or all of those things are the easiest ways to support my channel and encourage me to keep going and making more of these readings for you. So I really appreciate any of those things. But pile number 3. Let's get to the messages, shall we? So the Ethereal Visions Illuminated Tarot is waiting for its time over here, and we also have some pre-prepared oracle cards. But we are starting off with the card that you chose first, and I'm going to feel my way through it intuitively to kind of give you a first bit of overview as to what is the existing energy in this pile. But don't worry, we'll get more details from these oracle cards. So we have this retreat and cave energy, right? And the thing is, I'm kind of feeling this sense of overwhelm, or like you kind of maybe yearning for some personal space at this time. So I'm not necessarily saying that, you know, that there is anything too like dramatic or drastic that is happening in your relationship that requires you to take refuge or anything like that. At least I'm not necessarily feeling that. But yeah, it just seems like you are desperately needing some alone time, some time away from the connection, or just from the mundane life, from your everyday responsibilities and the role that you fill in your relationship every single day. So yeah, there is this need for like some solitude, or just to be at ease, to just be able to shut everything off, to reconnect with yourself and to detach or pull the plug out, so to say, so that you could, yeah, kind of like distance yourself from all of those things that you are dealing with day to day. I almost get this sense of like escapism, or wanting to escape, wanting to just, you know, leave everything behind and just take a breather. And I'm not saying, by the way, that there has to be this need to like run away and like leave this relationship behind. I'm not feeling that, but I do feel that it's this need to have a bit of change of scenery, to kind of come back to yourself a bit, to rediscover yourself, to reconnect with something more like deep and personal within yourself. Because I do feel that either you have kind of lost yourself a bit in this connection, or that the focus has shifted way too much on like all of these other things outside of you, or the things have just become a bit too demanding, right? That there is this need to kind of shut off for a time. And I for some reason, I don't know why, but I feel that maybe this is more of a specific message, but someone here, you may be like taking these little road trips a lot, or you may be choosing to just drive somewhere alone quite frequently. Like that may be the way in which you are dealing with this sense of needing space, needing time, needing to just be on your own. So you may be kind of aimlessly driving around, like unloading that energy in that sense. But yeah, anyway, that is what I feel from this card intuitively. But as I said, don't worry if it's still somewhat so-so for you based on this energy, because we are also going to take a look at these oracle cards. And to give you a bit of a more clear understanding of these oracle cards, these ones are going to describe the current state of your relationship, but it's not necessarily like an objective view of the relationship as it truly is. It's more subjective, meaning that it's the look at your relationship through your eyes, the way that you see the relationship right now. So it should be fairly easy for you to recognize yourself from these cards. So let's see. Okay, we have child. We have sadness. We have Saturn. We have stagnation. And we have happiness. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually going to start off with the last card here, because we have this card that says happiness on it. And so I feel like because it's the last card out too, it's kind of confirming that all in all, you are actually quite happy with the relationship. It's not that you are trying to get out of the relationship or that you are trying to escape the relationship or do anything drastic like that. It just seems that there is a slight period that you are experiencing right now where you just feel somewhat bogged down by, again, the responsibilities and the day-to-day. And I'm kind of jumping ahead to these cards here, which are Saturn and stagnation, because they are very literally talking about that sort of energy, right? Stagnation is just like it says, like not really moving ahead, like things are just stuck in an energy, or at the very least that you may be feeling like the relationship is currently steeped in or existing in this energy of like responsibility and burdens and hardship and like just this day-to-day grind that is a part of life, right? That is a part of human existence. Because Saturn is that energy of like the harsh teacher, and it talks about taking accountability. It talks about doing the right thing. It talks about thinking about consequences and like doing the difficult things. And so very often the energy of Saturn is not enjoyable in the slightest, but it does offer huge rewards when we are able to do the right thing. And so again, it's like this notion of feeling the sense of reward, feeling the sense of that the relationship is ultimately worth it. This person that you are with is ultimately worth it. But it doesn't take away from the fact that you seem to be feeling this slight period of like sadness, or feeling somewhat unhappy about the concentration of energy that seems to be placed on these responsibilities and all of these things that you are having to carry, all of these things that you are having to deal with and handle and take care of, right? It's all about that adulting part of life, and it seems to have kind of taken over your relationship a bit. And the child here really seems to hint at this thing being somewhat minor. I feel like it's really what this is talking about, that again, it's not anything too like big or too destructive. It's just this little feeling within you that is alerting you to needing to take a little break, needing to kind of separate yourself from this heaviness of this Saturnian energy, and again, just this day-to-day life, the things that you are sort of currently existing in most of the time. And by the way, these don't necessarily have to talk about the responsibilities within the relationship. this can also talk about the responsibilities that you are having to deal with outside of the relationship. So maybe in your career, or maybe in your like family life, dealing with your relatives. Maybe you are even dealing with certain health issues that, like, even if it's something that you are dealing with outside of the relationship, it's clearly affecting the relationship too, or it's like it's seeping into the way in which you are able to show up in your relationship. But I'm focusing on this energy being the state in which you kind of find yourself in right now, and how ultimately you see the relationship as a result of it. So again, it seems to be this like little snapshot of the connection right now. It's not a defining quality of your relationship. It's just this current period of time where you feel like these demands on you, and these like this sense of overwhelm that you are feeling is kind of starting to dampen the connection too, or where you are again not really able to fully show up in the way that maybe you would like to show up, or that conversely the feelings of overwhelm that you are feeling are also overshadowing the sense of fulfillment and happiness that you usually get from your relationship. So again, it's kind of all pointing towards you feeling this need to kind of detach for a bit, and yeah, kind of gather yourself is kind of the energy coming through here. Okay, also as a last thing, I just want to say that for someone here, maybe this is more of a specific message, but for someone here, this child, and especially next to this sadness card, it may hint at feeling like you can't be kind of carefree in the connection, that the fact that you have to shoulder some of the responsibilities and some of the difficulties or some of the annoyances and like all of that aspect of adulting, right? Like taking care of the bills, the expenses, thinking about the future, thinking about security and all of that, like that aspect of not being able to just enjoy the relationship and to just, again, be carefree in it, that may be something that saddens you as well. But again, as I said, it feels like it's more of a specific message, not necessarily for everyone. And I feel like it's especially true, like that being sad about not being able to be carefree part. That may be especially true for those of you who have like advanced in their relationship out of that initial stage of like being in this honeymoon phase and being in that like sweet romantic bubble, and now sort of facing the harsh reality of life as it is, right? Of having to deal with issues, having to deal with problems, and having to like face the boring day-to-day life. And so yeah, if that is something that you have recently kind of morphed into or like switched into, if the relationship that you are in and the one that we are talking about here is something that you quite recently have gotten into this more like steady and mundane rhythm with, then I feel like that is like especially potent in the sense that you may be really overwhelmed or feeling this level of sadness because you are potentially wanting to hold on to that time of just like, again, to just having fun and just having a good time and not necessarily having to deal with the more unpleasant and cumbersome aspects of life, right? So hopefully that makes sense, and I'm gonna leave it there. But yeah, pile number 3, if you could resonate with this, if this made sense to you and you recognize yourself, then definitely stay tuned, because now we are going to get to the tarot card portion and take a look at what is going on in your relationship. And we're first going to start off with your own personal energy. So we're going to take a look at your current energy that is affecting the relationship. So let's see what you need to know about it. Oh, wow. Okay. That was quite quick. And we are getting 3 major arcana cards. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have the Chariot, Judgment, and the World. With the 10 of Wands being the underlying energy here. So pile number 3, first off, I just want to say that with all of these cards coming out as major arcana, it's kind of clear that you are going through some sort of bigger personal shift. Like, I feel like by the end of this this period, this little chapter that you are in right now, you are going to feel very much different is kind of what I want to say. Now, with the Chariot and the Judgment card and the World coming out side by side like this, all 3 of these cards, I don't know how well you'll be able to see them actually, because they are really bright and they also have these golden accents on them, which are quite reflective. But I'm actually going to just show you these 2 cards first. So that way maybe you'll be able to see better. So with the Chariot and the Judgment card, it seems like you are potentially, like, again, the Chariot especially is hinting at you potentially like going after certain ambitions or dealing with certain responsibilities outside of the connection. So you could very well be handling certain high level or high energy projects or in endeavors right now. And because of it, it seems like it may be taking quite a lot out of you, especially with this Judgment energy too. It's like you are following something, you are following a deeper calling of some kind. Maybe it's even almost like this magnum opus, I want to say, if you are resonating with like working on something big outside of the relationship, if you have some sort of personal dream project that you are working on, or fulfilling some kind of dream goal or work ambition or whatever, then it could very well be that that is the energy that is kind of taking up all of your focus and all of your energy. And clearly with the World, it's like you are focused on like seeing it through to a successful end or like culmination point. I kind of have to cover this card up a bit, but you may be focused on seeing it through to successful culmination. But again, it's like it's taking up all of your focus, all of your energy, and it may be almost like sucking you dry, where you don't have that much energy left to, again, show up in this connection the way that maybe you would like to. Because the 10 of Wands is the underlying energy here, right? And it's clearly indicating that you have a lot on your shoulders right now, that you are dealing with a lot, you are handling a lot. Maybe you are also kind of experiencing a lot of things emotionally as well, but you, again, maybe keeping those to yourself too. But yeah, in any case, it seems like your plate is quite full, pile number 3. And yeah, so you may be kind of out of juice to focus on the connection itself. But again, these cards can also talk about you like taking on a lot within your relationship, right? So if you are not necessarily working right now, or if you don't have any big career plans or goals taking up all of your time, then this can very well talk about the way in which you are handling a lot of things inside of the relationship, and how, again, all of these like growing responsibilities and taking care of bills or taking care of, I don't know, utilities or whatever sort of other issues you have to deal with at home or in your family life or like whatever. It just, in any case, seems like it's taking out so much of you, and you are definitely feeling close to burning out is kind of what I want to say. But I also do feel that there is so much like perseverance and grit that is here, because I mean the 10 of Wands is a card of resilience in and of itself. But then we also have the Chariot and the World, both of which are very much focused on like coming through any difficulties, reaching the finish line, especially with the World, which is another card of Saturn, by the way. So we're getting this Saturn energy twice. But both of those cards are really talking about like seeing something through to the end, not giving up, right? Even if the going gets tough. So there is a lot of this, again, a lot of this determination and a lot of grit, not wanting to give up, not wanting to call it quits or anything like that. So yeah, it's very strong, the energy that I feel that is coming through from these cards and clearly talking about you. So you are in this determined mindset, no matter what. But let's take a look at what you need to know about your partner and what their current energy is as it is affecting the relationship. We are getting 3 cards for your partner as well, but I guess we are taking all of them. So we have the Well coming out in reverse, which is a special card in this deck. We also have the Devil and the Ace of Cups. And we have the Ace of Wands as the underlying energy. Let me see. So pile number 3. Something very interesting coming through from your partner's cards, because now having seen these cards come out, I'm also seeing the Child card in a whole different light. Because I do have to say that there may actually be a very concrete reason why you are having to kind of step up and carry the load. And I feel like, yeah, it seems like you are doing quite a lot of heavy lifting in this relationship. And I get the sense that it may be because your partner may be trying to hold on to the more romantic and idealistic and carefree sort of energy of the relationship as it is in the beginning stages, right? So like, I don't know why, but I feel that the message was coming through earlier. I hope that it was in this pile, because I swear to God, I mix up these readings at times because it all just kind of like meshes up in my head at one point, and I kind of lose track after having gone through all of the piles. But I hope that it was in this pile where the message of like wanting to hold on to the more carefree times, right? Wanting to hold on to that like honeymoon phase or like that sweet phase of the relationship. It seems that that's coming through from your partner's side. And I feel like because of it, because they may be like not necessarily wanting to carry the responsibility or not wanting to take the responsibility, or like there's something about that is coming through, especially because of the Devil and the Ace of Cups. I'm just gonna show you the tarot cards too, so you would actually get what I'm talking about. From these cards, I get the message of wanting to like desperately hold on to the romance and the beginning, the initial stages of the connection, even with the underlying energy, right? With the Ace of Wands being the underlying energy, it's like we have 2 aces coming out from your partner's side. So it's like they are wanting to cling to that initial easy phase, or that phase of the connection where, you know, things are still fun and still lighthearted and still just full of excitement and passion, especially with the Devil and the Ace of Wands. I feel like your person may be very passionate, and they may be very physical as well in expressing their feelings. But yeah, with these 2 aces, it seems like that's where they are really at right now, that they don't really want to move ahead and like get more serious. And so yeah, because especially with the Well card as well coming out in reverse, it's almost like they are not really looking at the future as such, or maybe even thinking ahead in that sense. They may be like existing in some sort of fantasy land, I want to say, with the Well coming out in reverse, because the Well in essence is a beautiful card, and it's full of inspiration, and it's full of like vision as well. But because it's coming out in reverse, it's coming out more shadowy. And so again, I feel like you will know exactly if this is your person. You will recognize that immediately, and you will know that this is the sort of message for you. Because yeah, as I said, I feel a slight juvenile energy coming through from your partner's side, which is the reason why you seem to be having to shoulder so much of the responsibility yourself. Because I feel like they are really wanting to cling on to the easy times, the good times, the, like, again, almost existing in a slight like fantasy world, and like how things could be and how things were. And yeah, I feel like that there's a slight charm to it, definitely. But I also feel that at one point it can become really taxing and really tiring if you are sort of ready to build something more steady, something more serious, something more long lasting. If you are willing to do the work and to put in effort so that the relationship could thrive and become even stronger, and like, you know, if you were sort of building for the future, because again, all of these major arcana cards are very much talking about like the future and moving forward, right? This sense of progression and leveling up. Whereas these cards here are very much, especially with the devil, it's very much talking about like just staying where you are, right? Not really wanting to move, feeling very attached to the way that things are, or again, to the way that things were. Maybe this is even like just romanticizing that like beginning phase to the point where they may not even be seeing what the downfalls of staying stuck are. So yeah, very much like beginning energy here, and very much progression, leveling up sort of energy here. So yeah, pile number 3. That is really the energy that is coming through from these cards. But let's take a look at where you can come together. Where can you find common ground, or what is this uniting force that exists in the connection that you can kind of lean into or tap into? Okay. Wow, that was very quick. I feel like I could barely even shuffle the cards. But we have Justice, we have the 9 of Swords, and we also have the 9 of Cups. Okay, so I feel like in so many piles, this sort of underlying energy has been coming through in like different ways, but I do feel like it's kind of a recurring theme coming through from the piles. But the Justice card with the 9 of Swords is hinting at the aspect of truth, the aspect of clarity and being forthright with what is actually going on. We have air energy that we are dealing with here, right? Justice is a card of Libra and the 9 of Swords is a card of Gemini, but both are air signs coming through. And so we're dealing with air energy. And especially with the 9 of Swords, it feels like something that is actually a common thing here, or something that you have in common actually, is this notion of potentially having certain fears or having certain anxieties that are kind of ruling everything, and that you may be again dealing with internally on your own, that you may not necessarily be sharing with the other person. So it feels like you are dealing with your own stuff and your own like issues and problems and all of this overwhelm, and that is kind of like almost like urging you or pushing you to take some time off to kind of separate yourself and just tune everything out. But I feel like your person is dealing with their own sense of like anxiety and fears that seem to be potentially arising from this growing level of responsibility, or this like relationship progressing to a more serious level, and that may be something that is like triggering for them for some reason. So it seems like even though your fears are somewhat different, or these anxious thoughts or whatever you are battling with inside is different, you are both battling with these difficult thoughts, right? And so that's the thing that is uniting you. That's the thing that you have in common. And with Justice, again, it's like you can actually lighten the load by being honest, by being truthful, right? And so I feel like that's something that may actually bring in a lot more feelings of peace, because the Nine of Cups is the underlying energy. And so in essence, you both seem to be wanting the same thing. You both want to feel at ease. You both want to feel relaxed. You both want to feel good about the relationship and about where you are and what you are doing with your lives and where you are moving and all of that. But I feel like you just may need different sort of rhythms, or you may have different paces when it comes to progressing or moving, or how you are dealing with difficult situations or unpleasant situations or challenging and demanding situations. It feels like you are operating in different ways. But I feel like talking about the things that you are sort of struggling with is a way in which you can kind of alleviate some of these fears, or again, like make it more easy to come together with each other and feel less alone. Because the Nine of Swords is also indicating that with these anxious thoughts being somewhat repressed in both of you, it seems to be like perpetuating or increasing this feeling of having to deal with it alone, or that you are somewhat unsupported in the connection when that may not necessarily be the case, right? And so it feels like both of you are somewhat feeling alone with your fears, with your worries, but you don't have to be. And so again, opening up about these fears or the things that you are struggling with inside, it may actually reveal to you that you are not at all alone in this, and that you don't have to be alone with your worries and your hardships that you are experiencing. So pile number 3, very interesting energy coming through. Again, I hope that the messages spoke to you and that they made sense to you. But we are going to close the reading out with a couple of last oracle card messages, as is the norm on my channel. And this time we are looking at a few positive affirmations from Spirit regarding this whole spread and your relationship. So let's see what we can get. So we are going to take a look at these cards in just a bit, but first we are going to focus on the underlying energy, which says wholeness. I am complete, whole, and filled with love. I have everything I need. If I ask or look for more, I'm ignoring the love and gifts that are already in my life. Instead, I'll be grateful and acknowledge that anything else would be extra icing on life's cake. FYI to whoever is listening, extra icing is totally welcome, as it's obviously the most delicious part. So I'm gonna hold this up for you so you can read it for yourself as well if you wish. So feel free to pause the screen or pause the reading and read the message yourself. But yeah, wholeness. See, I feel like it seems to be re-emphasizing how you actually like have the support and everything that you need in this relationship. It kind of already exists, right? So yeah, just like tapping into that resource that you have. Okay, we also have curiosity. Okay, so I'm gonna try and keep the card in the frame so that you could also read it for yourself. So yeah, curiosity. Meeting new people, I remember what a treasure trove of opinions, interests, and stories they are. But these treasures will only be unlocked if I embrace my curiosity. So I'll be curious and you be interesting. Deal? See, so I feel like even though it's specifically mentioning new experiences and new people, I feel like it's essentially emphasizing the aspect of tapping into curiosity, tapping into like being genuinely interested in what someone else is going through, what someone else has experienced in the past that has made them who they are, right? Like what their story is. And yeah, like actually giving them space to reveal themselves, to open up about themselves, and even about some of the things that they may not necessarily be proud of, or that they may be ashamed of, or that they maybe have a difficult time talking about, right? So yeah, curiosity. I feel like it's such a beautiful message that I feel like ties to both of you actually. both parties in this relationship could really benefit from being curious about what the other person is going through. But okay, we also have a bonus card which says surrender. Hear ye, hear ye. You are hereby being called to unclench your grip on any old thought patterns that are getting in your way. Surrender any ideas that make you feel like a victim of circumstance or which make your dream relationship seem like an impossibility. The mayor of reinvention has just arrived and has made the following decree. Limiting beliefs about yourself and your life are heretofore, forthwith, officially, and indubitably declared for the birds. Yeah, so see, I feel like Spirit is just, yeah, asking you to open up about the possibilities and to open up to the possibilities in your life and in the relationship as well. So again, we're getting back to any like limiting thought patterns. We're getting back to this 9 of Swords energy. Oh, you can't even see what I'm pointing at. Sorry, I was out of the frame. But yeah, any like unsupportive or limiting, restrictive thought patterns, anything that are eating away at you, or anything that is eating away at you, I should say. Again, both for yourself and for your partner. Spirit seems to be pointing at, again, allowing those to just to be shared, to come out. With all of this curiosity, this surrender, all of that, it seems to be pointing at the same thing. But let's get one last oracle card message from the Romance Angels oracle deck as well. So let's see what sort of last support or encouragement we can get from Spirit for you. Oh, wow. Okay. You are getting 2 cards, so I guess we're taking 2 cards, but I'm going to show you the underlying energy first. And this says, make the effort. Great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take. So see, again, it's, I feel the same thing, like actually both of these cards, right? Like we had this wholeness card as the underlying energy of the other deck, and now we're getting the make the effort card. So both of these are essentially saying that the relationship that you are in is worth treasuring, it's worth holding on to, and it's worth working through whatever sort of hardships you are like, or maybe even, I don't know, maybe hardships is too strong a word, but like whatever sort of hiccup or obstacle you are dealing with in this relationship right now, or that your relationship is experiencing because of whatever else you may be battling with outside of your relationship, it's worth working through, right? Because again, ultimately you have this happiness energy here. So I feel like you realize that you don't want to jeopardize the connection. You don't want to lose it. Okay, we also have, actually the cards that you got are forgiving and learning. As you release and heal the past, you experience more love in your present moments. And we also have flirt. Extend your lighthearted energy to others. So see, I feel like Spirit is encouraging you to focus on, again, moving forward, right? To focus on working through anything that may still be like weighing heavily on you, something that may be eating away at you, any like, maybe even there are certain resentments that haven't been talked about out loud. So yeah, just like kind of getting stuff out in the open and moving past them, right? Making peace with them. Finding a way to reconcile and to forgive or to make amends with each other. That seems to be the biggest sort of advice coming through here. And with this flirt card, again, it seems to indicate this need to bring about more lighthearted energy in the connection, to bring more of that like carefree energy into the relationship. Because again, it seems like with everything else that is taking up so much space and time, you may like both be feeling that a lot of that carefree energy has been lost, or that that things have gotten more serious. And so yeah, like finding ways to re-welcome it back into the connection, or find ways to create this space of refuge or like fun and playfulness, to bring back all of those into your relationship is really, really important. But pile number 3, I am going to leave it here. Thank you so much. I hope that these messages were useful, or that they at the very least spoke to you in some way, and that they gave you what they needed to give you. So if you are still here, by the way, if you made it to this point and this reading spoke to you, then please leave me a key. Why not? Leave me a little key emoji down in the comment section. Oh, no, sorry. Okay, I changed my mind. Leave me a little cupcake because yeah, that seems much more appropriate. So leave me a little cupcake emoji down in the comment section so that I would know that you made it all the way to this point, that this reading was for you, and yeah, that you got something from this. I would love to connect with you in the comment section, but I would also love to see you back on this channel next Friday for some more messages, insight, and fun. But in the meantime, please be good, take care of yourself, and until next time.